the EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.
Dave, can you hear me?
I can.
Are you there, Dave?
Hear you, but only because you're standing right next to me. He's like in my left ear. Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
Dave, can you hear me? While the party's going on, it's New Year's Eve in the basement.
I can
at
hear
the bar.
you. We're good, man.
Lanuti's on 99th, man.
It's a pretty rockin' party.
Yeah, we're on the south side of Chicago. This is going to be a combination 30 minutes.
This is a crossover podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
This one's going to air on 3 different podcasts.
So we've got,
it's going to air
obviously,
on
our White Sox podcast.
Yeah, Sox in the Basement. It's going to air on the EP podcast, which is local for Evergreen Park, Illinois, and it's going to also air on the big boy, the original one, the Broadcast Basement.
So I'm calling my own microphone. Hannah and Wild Bill get to share one.
We'll see who stops by here. So first of all, I just want to say, if you're listening to this on the EP podcast, don't worry. There's another episode of the EP podcast that is going to be coming up in less than a week. Comes out every Monday. So this is the New Year's Eve episode. We're going to have all the different shows that get broadcast out of the Broadcast Basement, including the EP podcast down here in my basement. It is New Year's Eve. And I'm also going to tell you before this is all over how you can win cash. What are you doing? I want the music in the background.
It was loud. I tried to turn it down.
I will turn it down, but I want it on. Okay?
I tried to turn it down, dude. This is your audio engineer trying to help you out.
I'll turn it down a little bit, but I want a little music.
Just a little down
music.
a little bit. Trust me on
There's got to be a
this.
little bit in there. All right. I want a little background noise. I want people to understand that we got a lot of people down here.
You just like the idea that you want to show people that you have friends. That's what it is.
This is my way of showing people I have actual friends.
Look
and I'm
how
just
cool
a nerd,
I am.
not just a nerd in my basement doing a bunch of podcasts.
Well, you are a nerd in your basement doing a bunch of podcasts, but you also have a lot of
I have
friends.
friends. That's what I have. I just want to make sure people know that. So EP podcast, we're going to get into how you can start winning money starting here in the month of January. We're giving away cash. Sox in the Basement podcast listeners, we're going to talk about how you're going to get some really cool free things for Sox Fest and how we are setting that up so you can pick it up before Sox Fest even happens. And you can also pick it up at Sox Fest because we're going to be there.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
And Broadcast Basement listeners, they're used to this. They're used to a bunch of drunks at a bar. So to them, they don't care what's happening.
Exactly.
They just listen. They just love what happens here. So we're going to bounce around the different things that are happening. Hannah's here from the EP podcast. She's running around. That's your wife.
Yes.
Dave, of course, is here from Sox in the Basement. Wild Bill is playing with a small child. We'll see if we can get him over here. I don't think he's going to want to come over here.
Come on, Wild Bill.
Bill's probably like, I just want to drink. I just want to have a good time. I don't want to be a part of this. Okay? And then we have a lot of randoms. We have a lot of people that are down here. That big guy down at the end of the bar. Say hi, Tim. Say hi. Just lean in the microphone. Say hi.
All right, hello.
There you go. There he goes. Says hi. That's a local EP resident right there.
There you go.
There he is.
There you go.
Drinking all my beer.
Next
He was like, I'm going to stop by at this party before I go to the next one for like one drink. He's on drink number 3. He's never leaving.
So real quick, to my right is a very, very good friend of ours. Ever since, God, like 20 years plus now.
I love this. I'm just going to let Dave go.
My
with
friend
it
Mark
this,
is here.
show.
The reason I'm pointing this out is because Mark is also very in tune with all things White Sox. In fact, me and Chris and Mark and one other guy, Mike, who you heard actually on the very first White Sox podcast.
Wow.
We were
totally nerding out now.
We were a group of 4 people who went to opening day in 2006 after they won the World Series.
Yeah, pictures right there on the wall.
Pictures right there on the wall. One of my favorite pictures
right on the
there.
wall.
So
there it is. Mark.
So Mark is there.
Nobody's going to ask you to talk, Mark. He just wants to tell that story that nobody cares about.
No, I'm going to ask Mark to talk. Hey, Mark, say
story
hi.
that nobody cares about.
Hello.
All right.
There he is.
Mark, what's the name of the Facebook page that you're the moderator on? I'm the moderator on it too, but I don't pay any attention to it. You actually do all the work on. It's a Facebook group page. Is it the Die Hard Sox fans one? Die Hard White Sox fans page. Okay, so you can get that on that. We're on a lot of different Facebook pages with the White Sox podcast.
For better or worse.
Well, some people are like mad. They always want to fight me. Hannah's here. Hannah's here.
Go get a microphone.
We got a mic down there for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Let me make a drink.
You or Bill, whichever one gets there first. Bill is not interested in getting in there. It's like, I'm not doing this show.
Come on, Wild Bill.
No, Wild Bill's not coming on, man. He doesn't have acoustic mic here. Okay, he doesn't have anybody to play guitar. He's got nobody to sing songs.
Hello.
He's got nobody to pick on.
Hello.
Okay, he's got nothing. He doesn't want to be involved in this at all. He's shaking his head off to the side.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You don't see a guitar because Chris's nephew stole it from him.
Socks in the basement. Socks in the basement. Socks in the basement.
All right, so let's since we're going to talk about a lot of different things going on here with different shows, let's talk White Sox.
Let's talk White Sox. I read an interesting article the other day. So apparently, neither Manny Machado or Bryce Harper were impressed at all with their visit to Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, I've read that too. But who wants to? Even Philadelphia hates Philadelphia.
This
You know
is
what I'm
true.
saying? Like, have you ever been to Philly?
I have been to Philly. Now, albeit I was in some of the nicer parts of Philly, but
There's
yes,
nicer parts to Philly?
There are nicer parts to Philly. Like if you go to the historic district, it's very cool. If you go to South Street, I believe, like that whole area where like a lot of the art and music is going on, like that's a really cool part of Philly to visit. The rest of it, or Rittenhour Square, is really nice. A lot of artistic types. Rest of it, not so much. But no, Philly hates everything. Dude, they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. I mean, that's just...
I mean, to me, I'm not surprised if they don't like it. But on the other hand, you have to remember. I mean, and we've talked about this. I mean, even 3 drinks in, I can clarify this. I can articulate this to you. If a team's out, you're going to start hearing things like they're not impressed with that team. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
If a team is lowballing, Scott Boras is going to say, well, they weren't impressed with Philly. It's not because Philly lowballed my client. It's because my client doesn't like Philadelphia.
Well, Philly had this whole thing where they were like, yeah, we're going to spend stupid. We're going to spend stupid. But they've already made a whole bunch of free agent moves.
Right.
Already. So, yeah, even though they might be spending stupid, my wife is shaking martinis. Even though they might be
Hannah's
spending
shaking a martini in the background here.
John Taffer style. Even though
She's got good form. She's got good form. Yeah. We're going to Facebook Live that later. That's awesome.
even though may be spending stupid, they're not going to have enough to spend stupid with what Harper and Machado are going to command in their contracts.
Listen, I've said it before and I've said it again. I don't want to talk about these two idiots until they sign with somebody.
Of course.
But the best offer is going to be the White Sox. And the only way they don't go to the White Sox is if they decide that they would take less money or less years because they really want to play for another team.
Correct.
And let me tell you something. Money talks. Sox are getting one of these guys. Book it. And I don't care how many people tell me I'm an idiot for saying it. I don't care how many people sit there and they try to tell me, well, you keep talking that way, I'm going to stop listening to you. Let me tell you something right now. The Sox in the Basement podcast, listenership-wise, I want to take a picture of the graph and put it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
You know, without like putting the specific numbers, just to put the picture of the graph. It looks like just a steep incline, just going straight up. Like every month, we more than double our listenership. So if you're mad at me because I'm telling you how this works, then fine.
I've already exercised my bragging rights for 2018 because our podcast is killing everything else.
Tim wants to get in there. The guy introduced him. You got to get close to the mic there, Tim.
Got to get close,
right up in
right
there. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, do you guys both think it would be a great thing to sign either one of those guys?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, why not?
Because the White Sox are historically and most likely going into the future limited on the amount of funds that they can spend.
No, not at all.
No,
Well, Chris,
hang on.
They just
Hang on a
signed that
second.
big TV deal.
Okay, so the White Sox, you're saying, are going to start acting like a big market
Oh,
team.
yeah, they are.
Okay.
Well, here was Chris and I have talked about this, and that's a good question. Chris and I have talked about this a couple of times. It seems to be that what happens is Jerry Reinsdorf gives, in this case, Rick Hahn, the general manager, an amount, a budget, an amount to spend on a team, okay? If Rick Hahn goes under that limit, then that excess money will go into a kitty that he can use later on in a future year to make a big splash.
David, before you continue,
Yes.
my daughter Audrey, from growing up on a podcast, has a question for Tim at the end of the bar. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, go.
Go ahead, sweetheart.
How can you even talk about the Sox if you're a Cubs player?
Oh! From the mouths of babes.
I can
She's not a babe anymore.
I can talk about the Sox because I follow baseball. I'm not trying to crap on the Sox.
No, I hear you. But here's the thing. I think that the perception that the White Sox won't spend money is a false perception. After the '94 strike, the biggest contract that was handed out after that was Albert Bell from Jerry Reinsdorf, who spent money. When they were winning, we had a high payroll, and the White Sox will have a high payroll again.
So they're obviously willing to go out big for one of these guys.
Or both.
Not both, but
Oh my God, I hope they sign both. They sign both. We're showing up at his door like Ed McMahon without the big check.
Nice.
We're gonna be like, remember when you said on New Year's Eve the Sox would get both?
Here's what I honestly think about it is that the Sox finally have the needle pointing in the right direction. They're going to be a good team in the future, but right now they still don't know exactly what they have. I think Machado and Harper, as soon as they're signed, they're going to be the most overpaid players in baseball. Neither of them are among the great players of the game today.
Come on,
they're very good players.
He's a six-war shortstop.
They're very good players.
He's a six-war shortstop.
Okay.
Everybody wants a 26-year-old shortstop who's got a 6-war.
No, he's a very good player, but he's not a great player.
It just sounds like a guy who realizes that his team's not going to get either one of these guys. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like a guy who realizes his team isn't going to get any of these guys.
Bryce Harper is not a top OPS guy. He's not. He's just not one of the best sluggers in the game. He's a very good player.
The angst.
But he's not
Cub angst right
one
now.
of the top
They realize
players.
the tide is turning. They realize the tide is turning, Dave. And they don't know what to do. Hannah, get over by the microphone. I want to talk to you.
It's the middle of the show song. 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 Chris had nothing to put here, so he put this song. It's the middle of the show song.
Talk to me.
I am not. First of all,
I had
EP
to put my
podcast.
lipstick- I had to put my lipstick on.
EP podcast, yeah, because you need that for a podcast.
Yes.
You need to have
It
lipstick
makes a
on.
difference. It makes a
EP
difference.
podcast, huge start. Now that's the thing. Sox in the Basement EP podcast. The both of them really didn't get going until about September.
It took a
when
little
I started
while,
doing
yeah.
stuff with the two of them, and in these 4 months, big listenership numbers to the point where we are already talking to a lot of local businesses about being a part of both shows. We're going to start seeing some businesses being a part of what we're doing. One thing I want to make sure that you and I talk about, because this is like a show for this is going to be on all the different shows. It's going to be at Sox in the Basement, the EP podcast, the Broadcast Basement. We can't put any of this on. I don't think growing up on a podcast this would work, because that's 4 kids by kids. It's just a bunch of drunks right now on New Year's Eve. Hey kids, don't drink. Pass me a beer. Like that would be a terrible idea. Okay, but
I don't know. You can get Audrey up on the mic here.
and me and the priest, he'll be here next year.
Oh,
My
nice.
priest,
Oh,
Father
good.
Paul. Father Paul's got 2 more weeks left in his non-disclosed place where he's a military chaplain. That's the priest. That's the he is a former U.S. Marshal for 10 years. He is a trained RN, and he's a Catholic priest on the south side of Chicago who's a Navy chaplain. And he's in the middle of a war zone right now on that show, and it just started.
Middle of a war zone. Is he in Chicago?
No. But he will be coming back to Chicago in just a couple of weeks, and then the show will be every week. It'll be a normal show, and we're very excited about that. It's already got like over 1,000 Facebook followers, and it's been
great.
around for about 2 months, so it's doing huge. But anyway, EP podcast. I was up at Porter Cullen's just today
Yeah, for the Irish New Year.
for Irish New Year. Okay, saw the folks up there. I was at Unidad just last week.
By the way,
you
the
and I
food
were
is
there.
fantastic
You and I
there.
went up there.
Food is great.
We got weird looks. Did you notice the weird looks?
No, I was looking at the food.
See, you weren't paying any attention. We got weird looks because they just met Erica, my wife, and we had been up there 2 weeks earlier. And then I walk in with you, and I'm like, whoa, who's this chick that Chris brought in?
You know that never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, that's what they did. You didn't see it. I saw it.
I was looking at the
saw it. They're
menu.
like, who's he walking in now?
I only have my bar still about 2 feet away from yours. You know, it couldn't be any more awkward.
We both saw things very differently when we walked in there. But anyway,
Are they thinking like an episode of Cheaters
yeah,
is
they're
going
like,
to
what
come
is
in?
this now? He's got a girlfriend too? Like, we just met the wife. But anyway, we went into
You could be a Mormon, you know.
Could be that too. They always had the life, man. When I was in Reno, I don't even want to get into it, but man, I met a few of them. They're living the life. Anyway, we went into Unidad. I talked to Porter Cullen's tonight. Those are 2 locations now where you can pick up EP podcast car magnets.
Oh, I didn't know Porter Cullens was.
Yes, Porter Cullens
that's
and
great.
Unidad.
That's
so
great.
Porter Cullens over there on 99th Street, right around where Central Park is. I can't remember exactly what the corner is,
Yeah,
but they're right
Central
over by
Park.
there. Okay, and also Unidad, which I believe is in between Homan and Turner on 95th Street, on the south end of the street between Homan and Turner.
Yes.
You will find both of them. If you go in there, they have EP podcast car magnets. Place the car magnet on your car. Very simple. Drive around. Every week, we will be giving away in January $100 cash money to somebody driving around with that car magnet.
Now,
And
they
then
don't have to be
starting-
driving around just in Evergreen Park.
No, they could be anywhere.
You could be driving in
They got a
Orland
better
Park.
chance in Evergreen Park, let's
Right,
be
but you
honest.
could be driving in Orland Park and see someone in Orland
I
Park
could.
with the EP.
I actually am keeping the little mobile microphone that records everything in the car.
Nice.
So whenever I'm driving around, I might find somebody. When I find you, $100 in cash each and every week.
Cha-ching.
He's gonna pull you over like the count, like counting cars. Like, hey man, pull over. I want to talk about your car.
Right.
I want to talk about your podcast. Yeah, right.
It'll be about
windows are gonna get rolled
in
up.
about 8 days. You're gonna read somewhere where I got shot in the face by somebody. Like it's gonna go horrible or wrong. Okay, so anyway, and then starting in February, a lot of these restaurants, including Porter Cullens, Unidad, some other ones that I've talked to, are gonna start giving away pretty much the equivalent of that cash in gift cards. So every week, you will be able to win from the EP podcast. Whatever contest we're having locally here in Evergreen Park, you get it from having the car magnet on the back of the car. And you're only 3 places you can get it right now. The Evergreen Park Library that we talked about on the last show.
Right.
Now Unidad and Porter Cullens. And Porter Cullens also has some keychains, some bottle keychain openers. They got some extra stuff I gave them because I was in a good mood today for Irish New Year.
It's the Irish
so I
New
just
Year.
started throwing stuff out to them, but they've got it over there. So just
Alcohol
show up
had nothing
and
to do
tell
with
them
it.
you want one, put it on the back of the car, you're in. Now Dave,
Yes,
for
sir.
Socks in the Basement,
Yes, sir.
I just approved yesterday,
Okay.
the design for the autograph hats. These
So
are
we went with-
specific
so we-
trucker hats.
So we
yes.
went with trucker hats.
Yes.
Good.
These are specific hats, but they're stitched. So it's not cheap. They're done really well. The logo for Socks in the Basement is stitched right on the hat, and there's enough room around the face of the hat that's in white so that you can walk around Sox Fest
And get an
get your
autograph.
autographs on your Socks in the Basement podcast hat, and then wear it to games if you want to. That along with the bottle opener keychains, and we will be giving those out not only at Sox Fest when we're there, but we are also organizing an event that I hope to announce next week.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to have another meeting. I've already been speaking to a local Southside establishment. We're hoping to have an event a week before Sox Fest so people can come out and get that. So both of those shows are doing big.
Wonderful.
If Bill would come on, I would tell him what's going on at the broadcast basement. But if he doesn't come over, I'm not telling him anything. So, I mean, that's it. He doesn't get to find out what's happening unless he goes on a microphone.
Wild
Broadcast
Bill,
basement has
Wild
big
Bill,
plans.
Wild Bill.
But I'm
Wild
not
Bill.
giving him anything unless he comes over here. Nothing. You get nothing.
Well, a new year is upon us once again. And I take a look back at last year and see how I've been. I made a few mistakes here and there, and though it seems like I don't care, but I won't be doing the same things I did back then. Gonna run a mile a day at the gym. Gonna do my best so I don't sin. Gonna put down the tobacco. Gonna do some more sit-ups. And I'll get to it right after this smoke. Right after this smoke. And this beer. And this shot of old granddad. And I'll get to it right after this smoke. Gonna donate some more money to charity. And I don't mean that cross-eyed blonde stripper at the bar. Gonna save the whales and save the pandas and stop littering. But I'll get to that right after this smoke. Right after this smoke and this beer. I'm placing bets on the Special Olympics. I'll get to it right after this smoke. Right after this smoke and this beer. I hope I make it to next year. but the devil can take me down till I finish this smoke and this beer and this shot. And oh, is that a car bomb? I'll take one of those and give me that. Vodka. That's what I need. Vodka. Oh, give me some McDonald's while you're out. Maybe some Burger King. And yeah, why not? You know, I'll go up the stairs if I need to go upstairs, but it's only for another beer. Church? Yeah, look for me through the windows. I'll be outside. Right after this smoke. Maybe next year.
Bill's got a mic. Look at him. Look at him.
Sorry, I was putting on lipstick.
Yeah, you might want to adjust that. You might want to adjust that mic so you can
He knows
talk
what he's
into it the
doing.
right way.
He's been on this show before.
I don't know, man.
Wild Bill's been with me forever. Wild Bill was on my first radio show in 1998 in Champaign, Illinois.
I'm sorry, I was doing show prep for my new side podcast.
You have a side podcast?
Yeah.
What's it about?
Cubs in the attic. The north side of the house.
So if you're on the other shows, you're listening to simulcast. It's Between All Things. The Broadcast Basement has Wild Bill on it. He does all the little songs that you hear in between. So we have a lot of people that love your middle of the show song. They think that's great. The middle of the show song shows up on all of them. You do the intros, the outros,
I'm
all
the
that
clown.
stuff. You're
Thanks.
the clown.
I'm the puppet.
But I love you, and you're so much fun to have.
I'm the monkey with the cymbals that you wind up.
You're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing with the Broadcast Basement in 2019.
Keeping it on the air.
Now, here's what's going to happen with the Broadcast Basement. Broadcast Basement's been around for 10 years. And for a while, we were just basically like a 90s alternative morning show. Like, we didn't swear. We were just a little blue. But we didn't get crazy. And then we just said, screw it. We're just going to get really crazy. So, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to go for a more mainstream audience in 2019. First of all, we have 200 and almost 40 episodes of the Broadcast Basement. The first 200 are going into the vault in January. If you want to hear the first 200 shows for $9.99,
like Prince's Vault,
for $9.99 a year, you can get in there and you can listen to the old stuff. It's great stuff. It's going into the vault.
Is it?
It's great stuff. It was one of the top 100 comedy podcasts on Stitcher multiple weeks.
The vault should be buried like 100 feet underground.
That's really why I'm doing it. I'm burying the vault. I'm burying I'm burying all the old stuff so we can start new. Is what I'm doing. Right? Okay.
With other podcasts, we know.
Right? Exactly. Okay. But now here's what I want to do. After seeing what's going on with the EP podcast, The Sox of the Basement, and the pop that they've gotten for being so local. As much as I love the fact that we have an international appeal on the Broadcast Basement.
Just Germany.
Germany, Australia. We got that one Norwegian guy who thinks he's a Viking.
Full Metal Jesus?
Right, Heavy Metal Jesus. He's on there. We got a lot of people all over the world. What I want to do is make the Broadcast Basement, where EP Podcast is for Evergreen Park, Broadcast Basement's going to be more of a Southside podcast. We are going to be teaming up with Open Outcry. I already set this up. Open Outcry in Beverly. The little microbrewery with the restaurant that's over on Western Avenue.
With the igloos?
Yeah, with the igloos on the top. Their owner and their brewmaster, who's from Evergreen Park, are going to start coming on the Broadcast Basement. And we're going to be able to focus more on the beer. We're going to focus more on local events and stuff going on in the area. We're going to still do the same stuff we do, but we're going to get ourselves more entrenched into the neighborhood. I thought you would like that, because you love a crowd.
I love the what?
You love a crowd.
I do?
Yeah, you do.
As evident by tonight, obviously.
You love a crowd.
I'm not a big... No, I hate
There's
crowds.
a picture
You know this.
over there at the end of the bar of the first time that we ever hosted a concert. Remember that?
Yeah, 25 years ago.
1998, December. We were hosting a festival, and I said I got this big entrance. Dave, listen to this. I got this big entrance.
Okay.
I got this whole song that's gonna play with laser lights. I've got like lights hitting all the different things in the place. The room's supposed to go dark. I've got this whole thing planned out, special effects, and then I'm gonna come on the stage right when the music hits, and I'm gonna introduce the band. Who was the band? Everlast was there, but who was like the big headliner?
Better Than Ezra.
Better Than Ezra, I believe it was. Something like that. But it was like, I was like, I'm coming out. But like, we introduced every band. So it was whoever the opening act was, but we're going to come out. We're going to fire t-shirts into the crowd, everything like that. I've got it all planned out. I got the whole morning show. Music hits. I come out. Lights hit. Nobody cares about me. You want to know why? He's walking out with his pants around his ankles. He just dropped trow.
No, I was taking a piss, and then I heard the music, and I ran out.
He dropped trow and walked out. But he doesn't like crowds.
That was before I hated people, though.
I was
none of that surprises me, actually.
Before we get out of here, and I want to hear what you guys want out of 2019, and then we're going to get out of here. I do want to tell the story. I was talking to somebody, young person, who's was really into radio and was asking me about the fact they wanted to get into the business. What do you think I said to him?
You shook his head no like an Adam Sandler?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Never. Promise me you'll stay where you are.
Don't ever leave.
Yes.
Stay in school, kid.
Anyway, so and they were asking me all about it, and they're like, well, you know, you get to do all this fun stuff. I said, no. I was like, we used to think all the stuff you heard on radio was real. And then we realized that it wasn't. Like when you thought, and I gave the example of you. I was like, I had a buddy of mine who once, when we were going to play human Frogger in the street, and we had a frog head, which he couldn't see through. He put it on. And then he walked out in the traffic with a cell phone.
The thing is, when we did it for real, we realized why people faked it, because it was worse than if you faked it.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
Like
and
when
you
you
almost
did
died.
it for real, it sounded worse than
Right,
if
you
you
almost
actually
died.
faked it.
Right. Like the time that we went and jumped out of an airplane, and when we got to the bottom, the guy was like, you know, Man Cow fakes this. He just has turds standing at the bottom and screaming into a phone. We're like, what?
Nice.
I actually came up with an apparatus with a phone on my guy and threw him out of an airplane. I actually thought we were going to do it for real. And that's when we realized it was all fake. What is your big hope for 2019, Dave? As
You
we
mean
end
for the White Sox or for the podcast or just for anything in
Give
general?
me all your hopes and dreams as we go around the bar here before we get out of here.
Oh, man.
Hopes and dreams for 2019 on this New Year's Eve.
I don't know, man. Can I keep it White Sox? I'm just because I'm not sure
Keep
yet.
it White Sox, dude. Keep it White Sox.
Well, I tell you what.
For Sox in the basement.
My hopes and dreams for the White Sox themselves. Give me Machado, Harper, or both, and get me a wild card appearance.
You think they'll get a wild card appearance in 2019?
I'm wishing, dude.
You're out of your mind.
I'm not saying they're gonna. You're asking for hopes and dreams.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
Here's my hopes and
I'm
dreams.
wishing.
I want one of Machado or Harper for the White Sox. One of Machado and Harper and a competitive team. And that's all I want. We're in year 3 of a rebuild. I keep telling people this. I'm reading articles like, did the White Sox miss out on Plan B? There was no Plan B. It was these guys or a rebuild. That's all it was. I hate saying it.
Again, you misinterpret. You says hopes and dreams, pipe dreams. I'm not saying that I expect a wild card.
Well, you
I'm
want us
just
to
saying,
go for the World Series.
Well, because like you said, it's year 3 of a rebuild. I mean, and you know, baby steps, dude. Baby steps.
Baby
No,
steps.
and I hope the White Sox podcast keeps growing like it has been. Thank you all who have been
It's
subscribing
been
and
fun.
telling all your friends
Don't
about
turn
it.
that microphone away. You got to give your hopes and dreams for 2019. I'm finishing with her.
And,
she's a bigger star than you now. She's a bigger star than you now. I end with Hannah. She's on the EP podcast. It's doing better in the broadcast basement.
Yeah, I think the White Sox gets ultimate bragging rights here for this year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the
I'm
White
pretty
Sox
sure the White
podcast
Sox
is
has
killing it.
ultimate
White Sox
bragging rights.
podcast is killing it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's for the White Sox. I mean, you know, dude, as far as like for me for the new year, I mean, you know, it's the same old new year, new me. You know, health, wealth, love, all that
All
stuff.
right, shut up.
I mean,
You're
yeah,
boring.
I get whatever. I'm boring.
Well, Bill.
For the show or in general?
In general, and if you have one for the show, you can, man. It's free form, whatever
for
you
the
want to do.
show,
I'd
I
fix
hope-
that mic, though, because it's pointed at your forehead, and I don't think you speak on there. It's not like you're a dolphin
What if a
talking out of a
giant was
blowhole.
here?
Yeah,
Huh?
well, that forehead is a pretty big target,
It's a
though.
5
So I
head.
mean, you know.
It's a drive-in movie. You can
After
throw
this
my-
is over, we're going to explore why you and Dave don't get along.
We're gonna explore. All right, I like it. Should I get the headlamp on my? How far are we gonna go spelunking?
We're going to go spelunking.
Nice.
You're going to get deep into Dave.
It's gotta be on Urban Dictionary.
You're getting deep into Dave. Yeah.
You didn't hear that.
You'll be like, yodeling. And it's going to echo
like,
back.
hello,
Yodeling.
You didn't hear it. Mark was like, how many headlamps?
Nice.
All right. Hopes and dreams for 2019.
For the show, I hope acoustic mic gets funnier or funny in general. And from general, Bears Super Bowl and
Bears.
a vasectomy for me.
There you go. Those are all good dreams and hopes. I love it. You know, I keep trying to tell people, like, that's the other great idea of making the broadcast basement more Chicago. It's all wrapped around. You gotta turn the whole mic stand. Help her out there, Dave. That's the whole thing about the idea of making the broadcast basement a little bit more Chicago orientated. We can still do the same thing. We can talk about things like the Bears, who are gonna go to the Super Bowl this year, and they're gonna destroy Hannah's Saints. She's from New Orleans.
Will you just let me say my hopes and dreams
Khalil
for
Mack is going to be sitting on Drew Brees' face.
The Saints are going to win the Super Bowl 10 years after they won their first Super Bowl. They have dome field advantage. They are going to win. You're not going to walk into the dome.
When the Saints beat the Bears 42-6 in the dome, I will be back down here to find Chris passed out in the bar.
Wow, Hannah's had a lot to drink.
Yes, indeed.
Hashtag Hannah's had a lot to drink, EP Podcast.
That's my hopes and dreams. 10 years after he won the first one.
Wow. Okay. Are you done?
Are you done talking over me?
Chris is never done talking over anybody. Are you kidding?
Man, she's a big Saints fan, man. She's angry. Listen, I wish your team the best until the NFC Championship game.
No, you don't.
I was at the NFC Championship game the last time the Bears played the Saints, and I remember how that went.
Yeah, Reggie Bush.
Yeah,
blame him.
Oh, you're blaming him.
I'm blaming him.
I remember the Bears defense completely abusing Drew Brees, and it's going to happen again.
No, it's not. You're going to be in the dome. You're going to be in the dome.
All right.
42-6.
Fine. All right, Khalil Mack just sitting on Drew Brees.
You're going to be in the dome.
Who dis?
The dome.
Right. Who dis?
Dome.
This is Khalil.
Yes, indeed.
All right, give me your hopes and dreams for 2019.
Well, that was it. Saints are going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on.
And you talked over my hopes and dreams. No one even got to hear it.
I'm looking forward to a lot of fun with the EP podcast.
I think do too. It's really picking up, and people are really catching on that it's local. It's hyper local. It's not even local. It's hyper local. People are really digging it.
And I think that the Car Magnet thing is going to work out real well. A lot of local businesses are excited about it. I mean, starting off with Unidad and Porter Cullen's and the EP Library is a place you can pick up the magnets. I think that will continue to expand. We're going to do a lot more of the Eating Evergreen Park segment. We're going to bring you along. I've got a really great idea for one of them that I'm trying to set up, but we're going to do a few of those starting in January. The main thing is for all these shows, Sox in the Basement, EP Podcast, Broadcast Basement, the kids, my kids have their own show. You heard Audrey earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up on a podcast, which we're reinventing because they were really into it. It was going really well. And then they just talked about Fortnite for like 4 episodes. And now nobody listens to it anymore.
None of the kids want to listen to Fortnite?
No.
I thought kids were into that.
And Audrey made fun of boys being stupid.
Well, they are.
She's a 13-year-old girl.
She's not making fun of.
She's
She's saying the truth.
All the boy listeners stopped listening to it, so we have to reinvent that show. And then Me and the Priest, which I love having Father Paul on. This week, the only show that is not going to be this episode that we're putting on all the different channels, Me and the Priest is actually going to have a new episode because he just came back from a mission where he was going from base to base in the middle of the war zone, and he's got a full bird colonel on with us who is going to be joining us, and that's the guy who's in charge of the entire base that he's in. So that's going to be a really interesting show. I just recorded with him yesterday morning.
Nice.
So that's coming out this week. But I mean, my hope is that this continues to grow, and it's fun, and I just don't want it to lose what it has right now. Sox in the Basement is me and Dave just hanging out, and we're 2 buddies talking about the White Sox. EP Podcast is me and you hanging out in Evergreen Park, having a good time, and hanging out with the locals and talking local stuff.
About coffins and front yards.
And just kind of like being with people. Broadcast Basement's a bunch of buddies who have known each other for decades, who just want to hang out and just make fun of each other. Talk about being dads, talk about what it's like to raise kids, talk about living on the South Side, pick on our friend Acoustic Mike, who's not funny. There's a lot of things that we do on that show. So I just want to see more of that this year and hope that it gets out, because we're not a big conglomerate. We're not like backed by any kind of media organization. We're just some people hanging out, having fun. And I think that's what's great about this tonight. I said, hey, who wants to come over to the bar tonight and do a New Year's Eve party? And we are packed.
Oh, yeah.
Down here in the basement bar. And I wasn't even going to put the microphones up. And Dave walks in and goes, put the microphones on, Chris. Do it. So we're doing it tonight. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I hope for a great new year for us and for all of you. From Sox in the Basement, the EP Podcast, Growing Up on a Podcast, Me and the Priest, 2 new unnamed podcasts coming out of the Broadcast Basement that are launching before this summer.
Nice.
That are going to be awesome. That I have yet to, I don't want to announce them yet, but we're developing them right now. And the original one, the Broadcast Basement, the Broadcast Basement app to also launch in 2019, where you can just download the app and get every show we do.
Yes, that's a baby crying in the background at the bar.
We are going to go now because there are babies that are crying. There are parents that are chasing them, and there are drinks to be had on New Year's Eve. Say goodbye, everybody.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Yay! Clink, clink.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nudist basement. And the nudist basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudist basement. Broadcast basement. The nudist basement. The broad basement. Slancha. That was like Dropkick Murphys or something, right? I felt like it.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always at the eppodcast.com.